Have you ever wondered how we become interested in different political parties? When you consider this question, you might think, well, I've looked at various political views and chosen the one that's most logical. But then you might ask yourself, why doesn't everyone see things my way? You might even feel that the other side holds irrational or even dangerous beliefs. So, how can so many people be blind to that? What if I told you that choosing a political party isn't just about pure, cold logic? Or to put it another way, what if rational thinking isn't as straightforward as a math problem? What if it's the result of many contributing factors? We're going to dive into some of them here. Just a quick heads up before we dig in. Most political psychology studies on our political opinions have been conducted in the United States. While the principles we'll discuss are likely similar in other countries, remember that America's stable political atmosphere and distinct parties might make it a bit different from some other nations. Personality, a key player. One of the most significant factors shaping our political views is our personality. William Ewart Gladstone, a 19th-century English politician, once famously said, "Liberalism is trust of the people tempered by prudence. Conservatism is distrust of the people tempered by fear." But first, let's understand what personality actually is. The American Psychological Association defines personality as the enduring configuration of characteristics and behavior, and comprises an individual's unique adjustment to life, including major traits, interests, drives, values, self-concept, abilities, and emotional patterns. A simpler way to think about it, well, it's simply the way we think, feel, and behave. Now, how do we categorize these diverse personality structures? How many types of personality do we even have? You might have heard of the Big Five model of personality. Gordon Allport, an American psychologist, was one of the first scholars to deeply study personality. His approach was fascinating. He didn't start with people, he started with language. In 1937, he compiled all English language terms describing personality and tried to categorize them. These initial traits included extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism, and intellect. In 1992, Costa and McCrae refined the model into the five-factor model: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, widely known as the Big Five. Now that you're familiar with the concept of personality, let's take a closer look at how it connects to our political choices. When we talk about politics, it's not just about policies or parties. Our personalities play a big role too. Do different personality structures make us more inclined to favor specific political views? Research suggests the answer is yes. Hundreds of studies have explored this connection, examining how traits like openness or conscientiousness might influence our political leanings. Of course, we can only touch on a few of the more robust findings here, but the evidence is compelling and continues to grow. Early studies, like those done in the 1950s by researchers such as Herbert McCloskey, suggested that conservatives were more hostile, suspicious, rigid, compulsive, defensive, anxious, and guilt-sensitive. However, the reliability of these particular studies is, honestly, pretty questionable. Firstly, the Big Five model hadn't been established yet, so there wasn't a consensus on categorizing personalities. Secondly, the 1950s was a uniquely complex era in American politics, heavily influenced by the Cold War and anti-communism, which certainly fueled a climate of paranoia. So, more recent studies, mostly since 2000, have put a lot of focus on the Big Five model of personality. These studies keep showing that openness and conscientiousness are basically the most significant personality factors when it comes to political attitudes. Researchers have concluded that, well, conservatism is negatively associated with openness, but it's positively associated with conscientiousness. On the other hand, having a left-wing political view is directly linked to openness. These studies also suggest there's a real connection between our personality and our political views, and it often comes down to our motivations. They've found that, when it comes to politics, different people are really driven by different things. For example, left-wingers are often motivated by curiosity, creativity, and a desire for a diversity of experience. Meanwhile, right-wingers tend to be motivated by self-control, following rules, and striving for norm attainment. It's actually pretty fascinating that, while openness and conscientiousness play a big role in political ideology, their impact on economic preferences is much less pronounced. There are, some studies on personality traits and economic preferences too. For instance, a 2017 study by Johnston and colleagues indicated that people with higher agreeableness tend to show more support for left-wing economic policies. Other research has suggested that neurotic personalities often favor left-wing economic policies, maybe because these policies can better accommodate their anxieties. So now the big question, what's the reason behind this association between our personality and political views? Is it a direct link, meaning our personality directly determines our political ideology? Well, it appears to be a very complex connection, as both personality and political ideology are influenced by other factors. It's possible that the same factors affecting our personality also have the potential to shape our political views. For example, genetics plays a role. Around 30 to 60% of our personality traits are inheritable. At the same time, a meta-analysis by Hatemi and colleagues in 2014 found that genetics accounts for about 40% of our ideology. It's plausible that a gene increasing the likelihood of a certain personality trait might also influence our ideology, either through that personality or a separate pathway entirely. Another factor is our childhood experiences. Some experiences can steer our ideology in a certain direction while also affecting our personality. A 2006 study by Block and Block found that conservative men often had a history of being deviant, easily offended, and anxious when confronted in their childhood. Interestingly, many conservative women in that study had a childhood history of being inhibited, anxious, and shy. Please remember, this video isn't meant to offend you if you hold a particular political view. Firstly, none of these associations are 100%. Secondly, the political atmospheres of countries are fluid and constantly changing, absorbing different groups of people. So, you can never truly judge someone's personality based solely on their political view. We will talk more about our political view in the next video.